Hello everybody, my name is Holt Micah. It's my presentation on bodybuilding. Here's our audience right here. We got Keelan and some folks through Skype. Okay, so today's discussion is going to be over bodybuilding, and that's my favorite hobby right now. I try to do that at least a couple hours a day, maybe 4 or 5 days a week. Webster's Dictionary defines bodybuilding as the developing of your body through exercise and diet. And the historical timeline is, well, people have been bodybuilding for thousands of years. It started with pretty much the Olympics and the Greeks, and then the Romans adopted that soon after. And it really kicked off in the 1960s with Mr. Olympia. The first competition was in 1965, and Arnold Schwarzenegger made it really famous in 1970. He won 7 times, almost consecutively, and he made a lot of diet plans and really kick-started the movement of bodybuilding in America. My favorite quote of his is, "You cannot climb the ladder of success with your hands in your pockets." And I have that printed out on my wall somewhere. I'm sure everybody has some cool quotes like that they like to memorize. That one's mine. And as far as the health benefits of working out and bodybuilding in general, you don't have to be a competitive bodybuilder like the sports. You can just use it as a recreational pastime as well. That's kind of what I use it as. And there's a lot of health benefits. First and foremost, muscleandfitness.com editor John Krasinski explained the health benefits of the big 3 in his article, using the big 3 to build full body mass. And by the big 3, he's talking about squats, deadlift, and the bench press. The bench press is a simple compound movement. You're basically lying on your back, usually with a barbell over your chest, and you start like this, and you just kind of pop off there, and that's the bench press. The deadlift is picking essentially weight directly off the ground to about kind of knee width here. So as an example, I'll do an imaginary bar right here. You start right here at your knees and go up like that. It's a really simple exercise, and the squat is essentially just you start with the bar on your back, and you go down, so about right here, 45, pop back up. So that's the squat. And these are the big 3 compound deadlifts, or excuse me, movements. The deadlift, the squat, and the bench press. If you do these 3, you will maintain your muscle mass. According to John Krasinski, the muscleandfitness.com expert, he said you will maintain your muscle mass, and you can keep this for most of your life, because over time you actually lose muscle mass after you get past 50. And by doing these 3 exercises, you can keep that for a very long duration. Another study published by Iowa State University on November 13th, 2018, that showed that lifting weights or bodybuilding in moderation an hour a week can reduce your risk of heart attack by 40 to 70%. And not only is this a fact, but you don't even have to do cardio. So for everyone like me who doesn't like to run or do jumping jacks or anything like that, as long as you just lift, it says on here literally just 5 minutes a day, and do these compound exercises we talked about earlier, you will actually decrease your risk of heart attack by 70%. So that's pretty significant to think about. Next, we're going to talk about the use of steroids in bodybuilding. So steroid use is a big thing, especially in competitive bodybuilding. But if you're not using it in competition, you really should probably steer clear from that. There's a lot of bad side effects, including testicular shrinkage. That's a big one for the guys. You kind of want to steer clear of that. And also, just if you get off of it, your natural testosterone levels will lower to a rate where you'll eventually have to supplement it, or else drastic things will happen. Your hair will start falling out, your skin will start peeling. There's a lot of really weird side effects that kind of go along with that. So don't use steroids if you're trying to get into bodybuilding. Just stick with eating a lot of food, having a high calorie dense workout, and diet plan for sure. And lastly, we're going to talk about the future of bodybuilding. So when it got started in the 1960s and 70s, like we talked about earlier with Mr. Olympia, it was all about competitions and all about the Mr. Olympia, Mr. Universe, stuff like that. Nowadays, it's about social media influencers. So people like Callum Von Moger, they call him Arnold 2.0. He's essentially Arnold Schwarzenegger in the modern time. and he hasn't really done very many competitions, but his social media presence on Instagram and YouTube has actually boosted him to a pretty prestigious level in the bodybuilding community. Also, people like Larry Wheels, he was a bodybuilder. He's only done one competition, but his name is, he has over 1.3 million followers on Instagram right now, and 800,000 subscribers on YouTube. So the moral of the story is that bodybuilding is no longer exclusive to competitors. Basically, if you want to start, anyone can start. And to start eating a lot and lifting weights, creating a social media presence, and now you're the face of bodybuilding, you get sponsors and stuff like that. You can make a living off that. Not where I'm trying to go, but more of a recreational for me. So that's bodybuilding, and that's the history, the health benefits, and the future of the sport and for recreational use. I hope you all enjoyed this presentation.